Hello, and welcome to an episode of Todd Talks. And Todd Talks, people listen. Gotta get my breathing right. And today, hopefully my breathing is good. That would be bad, because breathing is needed for life, right, guys? So today, seriously this time, we are talking about the death battle between Tanjiro of Demon Slayer versus Jonathan Joestar of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Part of it, anyway. So, this is an interesting death battle because usually when you think of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you think of Jotaro Kujo or Dio, obviously, both of which have been in death battle. And Jonathan is actually one of the lesser characters because he's like the start of it all. And then you got Tanjiro, who is of course in Demon Slayer, this is their debut in death battle, which is awesome. And they have like the massively popular anime right now, but their manga is done. So we got to be clear on that, okay? The manga is done, and as a result of that, they are able to tell Tanjiro's full story, even though it's not shown all the way in anime form as of yet. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this is very interesting. This is a rather unique matchup in terms of why they're being paired together. But let's get right to it, shall we? I'm doing my best. Like, this is where I see the clock. I'm doing my best right now. It's only about 1:30 right now. This will not take 30 minutes because I didn't even try to understand half the stuff that they're talking about. But I think I got a baseline here. So, Tanjiro. In Japan, a long time ago, the imperial nation of Japan was fraught with one singular problem: demons. And this became a major problem because what started out as one demon became a whole swarm. There became upper class and lower class and regular demons, and it was a thing. So their leader, Muza? Sorry, there's a lot of names in here that I'm not going to get right. The head demon, King Demon, that is his official title, started killing families indiscriminately and then eating them, because why not? You're a demon. And one of them just happened to be the family of Tanjiro. And not only that, he actually turned his sister, Nekuzu, into a demon himself. And so Tanjiro, in revenge, in a way of justice, and being the anime protagonist we all needed him to be, went on a quest to not just cure his sister, but to kill as many demons as possible. And so he joined the Demon Slayer Corps. And it was here that he received various training and weaponry to help him on his journey to kill all the demons and save his sister. Now, as the preview noted, the key one is his katana, which he's had multiple over the years. And to be clear here, this is literally a years kind of thing. So over the years, he received multiple swords, but they were made by special ore, and they were not only able to absorb sunlight, but they were able to be one of the few things that could actually kill a demon. And to kill a demon, you had to chop off its head. So anytime you see, Demon Slayer like intentionally cutting off their heads, that's why they have to do it, because that's the only way to kill them. And even some of their swords at times are not powerful enough to cut off demon heads. So that's why they have special training to give them the techniques needed to boost their power and speed and abilities in order to fight off these demons. And this is where my little joke from before came in, because they use breathing techniques to give themselves powers and abilities beyond what is normal and regular. And for Tanjiro, he has mastered multiple kinds of breathing techniques. Now, the one in the preview was his water breathing, and I know a lot of you have already complained about this to death battle, so I'm sure they're going to change it by the main episode. No, they do not actually summon the elements in their fights. That is actually a visual representation of the abilities via the show and the manga. So for example, his water breathing is reminiscent of water because it hurts like with the power of a current, which currents are very powerful. But no, he doesn't actually summon water. That is just a visual representation of the ability. In fact, it's actually stated specifically that he just uses air in a way that can resemble water or fire or other things. And then when he uses it underwater, I did go deep on the techniques at least, though I can't name half of them. He can actually draw in the water with the air and then add more power to it. So again, he's not summoning water or fire or any other element. He's using the air with his breathing techniques to amplify his power. Just want to be clear on that, because I saw a lot of you complaining. Justifiably. Like remember when they said that Katara and Sokka were from the Northern Water Tribe instead of the Southern Water Tribe? Anyway, moving on. He mastered a variety of breathing techniques. In fact, in both his swordsmanship and his breathing abilities, Tanjiro was a prodigy. He was good at doing this so well that, like the preview said, he could do it in his sleep. And even in his sword skills, he was able to go up against higher ranking and better trained fighters almost on instinct, just knowing what he could do. And then as he trained over the years, he got better and better and better. He actually went to a swordsmanship village in order to better increase his abilities. And even then, his training did not stop. His guy's like Goku. Okay, and again, I haven't seen Demon Slayer at all. I will. I have no doubt that I will, but it's just not yet. And don't get me started on JoJo. There are some things that you and I find too bizarre. Okay, but anyway, he learned more from these breathing techniques that allowed him to do even more in combat, such as healing himself. He can coagulate blood and remove and resist poisons, which he has had to do in battles in the past, including with the King Demon. He has also learned how to use his breathing to amplify his senses to an insane degree. He actually has, I kid you not just extra, I don't want to call it, super senses, I suppose, is a good way of saying it. Super senses. He can detect things on a battlefield. He can actually use his smell in multiple ways because, and I kid you not, he once used his smell to determine where booby traps were around a mountain and was able to evade them as such. And another time, he, I kid you not, this is the term they used, the smell of the future. Yeah, he can actually smell what might happen, and even like when you're fighting, there's apparently a moment right before you strike where a smell is emitted. Smell. I didn't notice the list before. I'm sorry. Smell, says Cobra Commander, that Tanjiro can detect and then use to react quickly. And as such, he has lightning fast reflexes that has allowed him to do all sorts of things against all sorts of demons. And this is where we really need to talk about, because his techniques vary widely depending on the breathing style he is using and the opponent he is facing. And as such, he has been able, over the course of the manga and the anime and everything in between, to defeat some of the most insane demons around. Now, in the world of Demon Slayer, there are technically 12 demons that are above all else. And for the longest time, it was said that only the best of the best of the best could even hope to face against the upper tier demons. Naturally, anime protagonist Tanjiro was one of them. In fact, when he faced Munza, King Demon, when he faced the King Demon, even he, who was a very old being, was having flashbacks of sorts to another legendary swordsman from the Demon Slayer Corps, and he thought that like Tanjiro was basically the embodiment of this legendary swordsman he faced at one time. That's how good he was. All right. And he has killed lower class, higher class, ones that were thought that they could not be killed very easily. He did it with ease at times. And because of how he was able to master his breathing techniques, his powers just kept growing and growing and growing. In fact, even the demons themselves noted Tanjiro grew in battle. Again, he's a Goku. All right. And these pushes that he would get in battle allowed him to even come up with new techniques of breathing and fighting style so that he could defeat the demons that he was facing. And some of them, like Deki, were incredibly fast, incredibly strong, and this further showcases how good Tanjiro is. He can leap over buildings in a single bound. He can, again, he can go up against some of the fastest demons around, and it's even said that when he is angry, like legit angry, he actually goes kind of Hulk mode and pushes himself to even beyond his limits, such as when he was so angry about, I don't know if it was Deki or not, but one particular demon really ticked him off after a massacre, and he just went off, and the anger just propelled him to win, and it was something. But he only gets angry at demons. All right, this is Demon Slayer, so he technically, and he even said one time he refused to kill a human. I saw that quote somewhere. I don't think I was on the death battle for him. So he doesn't want to fight humans, but he will fight demons with an absolute vengeance because of what happened to his sister, his family, and all the other people he's hurt. But he's also very empathetic. He believes that though they are demons, not all of them are demonic, for lack of a better term. Basically, he knows that some of them, like his sister, don't want to be demons, but they are, and thus they can't always control who they are. That's why he fights so hard to save his sister. So he does have empathy for them at times, but he will also not hesitate to kill them when he knows that they are their true embodiments of evil. And as such, he was able to again kill scores of demons, including some of the higher tiers. And then with his friends, in the power of friendship, he was able to withhold the king demon out until sunlight, ending the war with all the demons. And then, if I recall the ending correctly, the world got rewritten, and his sister was saved, and they all lived happy lives as school children. Yay. So, given all of this, Tanjiro is absolutely an incredible anime swordsman hero type, and with the visuals that they put into the Demon Slayer anime, which I would love to see in my own anime, Tokyo Blade Detectives, on Kickstarter right now, number 5. Check the link, comments below. Yeah, you can see why he is definitely one of the best around. And now we move to Jonathan Joestar. Now, we have actually talked about Jonathan Joestar twice before. We talked about him I believe I talked about him briefly in the JoJo versus Kenshiro fight, and then of course him versus Dio via Dio Alucard, which I'm still bitter about. I'm sorry, I really wanted Alucard to win. So Jonathan Joestar was the son of an aristocrat in Victorian London, and says, right, Boomstick, I can do a better accent than you because I am a gentleman. And he is not. So, son of an aristocrat, mother died before he knew him, and as such, he wasn't exactly the most put together kind of teen. He was mischievous, he kind of got in trouble, and he wasn't emotionally stable, which only got worse with the adopting of his dear brother Dio Brando. Dio! So, yeah, Dio, as noted in the preview, tried to psychologically break Jonathan Joestar, and didn't work. To the extent that he actually unleashed his own hidden personality, where he became a true gentleman. Dignified. Nice. Kind. Fights for justice. I don't know why I'm still talking like this, but I feel very proper right now. So, as he became a gentleman, he started to fight back against not just bullies, but Dio himself. And this caused problems for Dio, because, of course, Dio wanted to take over the entire Joestar fortune, killed Jojo's dad. Remember, he's also called Jojo. Killed Jojo's dad, and then Jonathan had to go on a crusade, a Stardust crusade, to defeat Dio once and for all, especially after he used the stone mask to technically become a vampire. He's not a vampire, but he is a yeah. Again, why didn't Alucard win? Why? I'm over it. No, I'm not. But, so Jonathan dedicated himself to training to become someone who actually could defeat this vampiric monster. And thus he met an Italian whose name I cannot say. And like I told you, the names were going to be my nemesis here. They always are. And he learned Haman, which has been translated, of course, to Ripple. And that's how I shall refer to it. Ripple is an energy that is like sunlight. It is something that is comes from within the human body. And a user, which there are only a few people in a generation who can use Haman, according to his teachers. I think he said like 1 in 10,000, which shows how interesting Jonathan is. Those who use Ripple can channel this energy and then use it to do various things. And yes, it is controlled through breathing. And that's a key thing that I'll be noting for him and for Tanjiro later on. So through his breathing, he is able to harness his energy and then use it for various things. For example, he can enhance his strength, his speed, his reflexes, his endurance, and he can use a variety of techniques, usually called overdrive, and channel it in various ways to do certain damage. Like in the preview, they talked about his zoom punch, where he can actually extend his arm at the cost of damaging it, but isn't really damaged because it comes back together. Think like Berserker armor, but actually good. I'm sorry, I wouldn't wear that Berserker armor, I'm just saying. Also, Guts Dimitri needs to have it. But He can also use healing. He was actually shown to heal flowers that were on a tree branch that were why is this so bright? That were dead, and he brought them back to life. He can walk on water. No joke. Ripple can be used on a person's body to repel things. So he could put it on his body or via his shoes, and then walk on the water, which he has done multiple times. He's also expelled venom from his body to where, because he was poisoned by snakes, and he literally used the Ripple to expel it out of him. And then when he's facing the undead, which he has done, or vampires like Dio, Ripple is one of the few things that can literally destroy them entirely, or pretty close to entirely in Dio's case, as we all know. But that's still not all. He can. This is a weird one. He can channel Ripple through wine or any liquid, and then have super senses across the entire environment that he is in. He can even sense people through walls. Why does it need to be channeled through wine? I don't know. But it is said that Ripple works better in natural entities, such as trees with the healing branches I told you about, and water, so he can walk upon it. So it can natural elements can wield the Ripple in certain ways. There are catches, though. It cannot break. Okay, gotta say this correctly. Ripple itself cannot break metal or steel. All right. Now I say Ripple itself, not Jonathan. Jonathan has been shown to use Ripple to enhance his strength to the point where he could actually break a couple of steel bars that were constricting his throat, which would be bad because that would hurt his breathing. He has, and even one of the zombies he was facing, who was incredibly strong at the time, said that even he couldn't have done that, and yet Jojo did. And then but the other catch is, there is a technique. He has one of his overdrives, can actually transfer Haman through the metal. That was a cool shot. Through the metal. And deliver damage to the monster or being that he is fighting. In this case, I saw a gif of this. He kicked a sword, and it rippled down, and actually went into the arm of the user, and it melted the arm off. Dope. Alright. So that's a thing. It's absolutely a thing. And if nothing else works, which he has a lot to work with, he actually has the ability to hypnotize people. Ripple can hypnotize people and animals and monsters. He's done it on all three, or various people across JoJo's history have used it across all three. So yeah, that's pretty powerful itself. And then because of JoJo's own abilities, he is so fast that he's able to create after images, and as a result of that, he can confuse enemies. He's actually rather intelligent in battle, able to come up with strategies on the fly and use the environment to his advantage. In his final battle with Dio in the Joestar Mansion, he actually got the sword of a fallen enemy after he gained his respect, anime, and used it to stop Dio's flash freeze. Say that 5 times fast. Flash freeze. To stop Dio's flash freeze, because he imbued the sword with Ripple. And if I recall the preview image for the fight, I did not watch the preview. I'd rather watch it during the Battlecast. That sword will be in the fight, so because it is a somewhat standard equipment for him. And many Haman users / Ripple users use various objects to help channel the energies, as I have stated before. So the big thing here is that once Jonathan got his training, he was able to go and take the battle to Dio in various ways, including killing a whole bunch of zombies and monsters, not the least of which was Jack the Ripper. Yeah, JoJo beat him. And then in his final fight with Dio, he was able to use Ripple with such incredible force that he actually disintegrated most of Dio's body, and only after Dio cut off his own head was he able to survive. And of course, this is where the sad tragedy of Jonathan Joestar comes in, because after he thought he had beaten Dio, he married his love in Elrina, I believe it was, and now it starts with an E. And they had a child together, and then after getting married, they went on a cruise ship, which Dio's lackeys brought his head on, literally. And after Jojo realized what was going on, he went to confront Dio. Dio pierced his trachea and was able to basically kill him. But the catch was that Jonathan used the last of his Haman ability to mind control a subordinate of Dio's, caused the ship to explode. He got Elrina to leave him because she wanted to die along with him. Because, yeah, Victorian England is a thing. So he was able to get her and their son to get off the ship, and then he held on to Dio's head, with Dio begging for him to stop, because remember, Dio wanted to use Jonathan's body to be the perfect vessel for him. So he held on to his body, and the ship exploded, and they both sank to the bottom of the ocean. And it was only after a long time after that Dio was able to cut off Jonathan's own head, put his head on it. It's anime, don't ask. And become the Dio that we all know and hate even more. So sadly, he did get a heroic death, but he did not get a heroic victory until much later via his descendant in Jotaro Kujo. But still, for a gentleman, he is a very cool character. So, right, 21:30. We're going to make it to less than 30 today. So you never know how long you're going to talk about something until you're talking about it. So, who wins between Jonathan and Tanjiro? Let me be very clear here. Both can kill the other, all right? Jotaro has abilities that could work on Tanjiro. Tanjiro has the weapons and techniques to go and kill Jonathan. There is no doubt about it. This is very much a Scarlet Witch Santana situation, which, yes, I am still bitter about. That one I am absolutely bitter about, because I wanted Santana. But I picked Scarlet Witch because everyone's like, oh, Scarlet Witch is going to win. Fine, whatever. So, who wins here? This is tricky. Okay, this is tricky. This is actually trickier than Zatanna Scarlet Witch for a very basic reason. Scaling. It's really hard to tell how they're going to scale one to another. Why do I say that? Jonathan Joestar, again, is technically the head of the Joestar line that comes later. So Joseph, Jotaro, and Jocelyn are all descendants of Jonathan. They are all more powerful than Jonathan. It's specifically stated that Jonathan, because of training and the lack of having a stand, he does not have a stand. All right, if he had a stand, this fight would be over. He does not have a stand. That came later. All right, because of Dio using bow and arrow to bring forth the world, but that also activated Jonathan's because it was his own body, and that activated the stands and the later was Star Platinum and etc. etc. And yeah. So he does not have a stand. So let me be clear on that. The problem is that because Dio takes over his body, you could argue that some of what Dio can do is because of Jonathan's body, and this Jonathan's body is more powerful than we realize. Also, Phantom Blood, which is canon and was referenced in Dio Alucard, was a fight between Jonathan and Dio, and that included the infamous eye laser technique that cut the sky and cut the clouds, and apparently is enough to kill 3,000 lives of Alucard. Calming down. I really am over it. I'm more mad about Zatanna Scarlet Witch now. But that was a feat that not only did Jonathan counter, but he actually took the hit and lived, apparently. And that is a feat that you could argue is not just faster than light, but shows the incredible endurance of Jonathan. Second, while both of them do have breathing techniques, and both of them need to breathe in order to win, you could argue that both of them could get a lucky shot on the throat or the stomach and just cause them to weaken. So that kind of washes out. The real trick here is who has the techniques to beat the other. And this is where things get really, really tricky outside of scaling, because they're not supposed to fight humans. Jonathan is supposed to fight zombies and vampires, and Tanjiro is supposed to fight demons. That's the whole thing. Haman is meant to fight the undead. And it's specifically stated in the wiki that I saw, that while Haman / Ripple can be used against people, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hurt them. And But on the flip side, Tanjiro's techniques, while they are suited to kill demons, they can hurt humans because they're just air pressure attacks. So you think that would be a boost for Tanjiro, especially since he can smell the future. I still can't believe they use the term. Smell the future, and has these super sensory and perfect total concentration breathing, which allows him to boost his abilities even more. But Haman boosts Jonathan's abilities to an insane level, including potentially being faster than light. There are multiple people who have said that Jonathan is faster than light, or at least close to that. Again, it's really about scaling, and I don't know what Death Isle is going to do. But we do know that the eye laser feat is something they use, so we can scale to that. And Jonathan was able to defeat Dio in his vampiric form with Haman and just his own training and abilities. And that puts him at a very high level. Tanjiro is still very good, though. So where does the line break? Now, a lot of people said that he could break Tanjiro's sword. Maybe. It will not be destroyed by a Ripple. As I noted, Ripple will not break steel. That's specifically stated by Jonathan's mentor. However, as I also noted, he can use an overdrive technique to send Ripple down the sword and harm Tanjiro in certain ways. And this is where I think the real break is going to come. It's not just in skills or the scaling, it's in the feats. And Jonathan and others who have used Haman are able to hypnotize people. And it's specifically stated that the hypnotism can be indirect, meaning he is controlling their body from afar, and that he can reorganize the cells in a person's body and get them to do what they want. As I mentioned, he got a subordinate of Dio's to die in a way that caused a break in the ship's function so that it could explode. He used it on snakes to turn on their own master. That was when he got poisoned. And for Tanjiro, he could use Ripple on him to make him stop breathing. And as I've said, if you get him to stop breathing, you win. So that alone is more than a win condition. And yes, you could say, but the breathing techniques allow him to resist poison. That's when he's breathing. All right, he was poisoned by the Demon King and then used his breathing techniques to stop the poisoning, or resist the poisoning. This is not poison. This is direct control over a body, and that is something that I don't believe Tanjiro can do. Also, Tanjiro does have a limit in terms of what he could do with his breathing techniques, how long he can use them, and the stamina that he has. In fact, in the battles with the Demon King, in most of his biggest fights, he needed help to win. And other times, he literally ran out of juice, including one time with Deki, where he had her and he couldn't kill her because he ran out of stamina. He is a guy who, especially when in his enraged state, will go to the ends of the earth and even risk impalement life-threatening injuries, probably including impalement, to get the victory. That will work against him in a fight against Jonathan, even though Tanjiro is no slouch. He is a genius tactician, but at times he gets the better of his own self and can put himself into perilous positions. Jonathan is just as smart as him. He's also able to discern fights and strategies in mid-fight and on a dime and in peril, so their intelligence will actually work or counter one another. So the real question is, who will get the counter on each abilities first? And Tanjiro has been able to counter abilities based on only seeing them once, and that's great. But all it takes is once for Jonathan to use Ripple to mind control him and say, oh, this guy uses breathing techniques just like me. And there you go. So based on scaling that could and likely is going to happen, plus the hypnosis, plus Haman is not sun energy, it's just reminiscent of sun energy, so the sword of Tanjiro's won't absorb it, technically, more than likely. I would imagine, and I pick Jonathan Joestar to win this fight. Oh, not 29 minutes. Dang it. I was really hoping for 25. Oh, well. And with that, I am ending this episode of Todd Talk. Who do you think is going to win between Jonathan and Tanjiro? Again, I'm Team JoJo. What could possibly go wrong? Everything. What do you think? Who do you think is going to win? What do you think the fight's going to be like? Let me know in the comments below. And again, check my comments for my Kickstarter link. I really could use your support. So, I thank you for watching. Me as far I know you were listening, and I'll see you around.